Feeling like we're making any type of progress on our grief journey can feel very disconnected from our actual experience day to day. And so let's walk together and I'll share with you how you can recognize and look at your entire journey, no matter if that's been 5 months or 5 years, to see how much progress you've actually made. Hey friend, welcome back to Grief Questions Answered. I'm Eric, and it's my goal with these videos to share everything that I've learned about how to survive, find support in the loneliness of grief, and how to intentionally get back up and live beyond the loss of a loved one. If this grief tip doesn't help you today, I am confident it can and will help you at some point in the future, so be sure to save this video to watch later on. Today's video is a follow-up to last week's topic about prolonged grief and how do I find support if I feel like I'm struggling. And so the question that I received is from Martin, who said, well, how do I know if it's prolonged grief? How do I know if I'm actually feeling any better? And so Martin, this is such a very powerful question, and I really appreciate it because it really shows that, one, you are wanting to make some progress on this journey where it feels like you're not. And so it reminds me of a time back in 2016, which was only about a couple of years after Zoe took her life, that I was invited to go climb a small mountain in New Hampshire with a bunch of friends. Now, the name of this mountain is called Mount Monadnock. It's not a very tall peak, meaning you can climb it and come back down in one day if you want to. And so that was our plan. We left early. We arrived at the base of the mountain in the parking lot about probably 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. And we set off on our journey to ascend the mountain, spend some time at the peak, and then come back down. And so I was excited about this. It was nice to feel connected with a group of people again, but beyond that, something more profound kind of happened. And before I dive into a little bit more of this thing, I want to kind of show the parallel between the grief experience and this journey of climbing this mountain that I'm sharing with you. And it's this. First of all, the grief experience is a very personal, emotional, and multifaceted experience for us. It's our natural response to loss that rips at our body, mind, and soul. And it's unpredictable, and it's nonlinear, and it can last months, if not years. So to your question, Martin, every day to day as you're navigating your grief, it feels like you're just doing the same thing over and over again without making any progress. Let me step back into us climbing this mountain now. So as we're climbing through these trails to get to the peak of this mountain, it's not just a straight shot up to the mountain, by the way. It's a windy trail that instead of, just going the 2,500 feet to the peak, it's more like you're spending 3.5 to 4 miles walking on these trails. And every step that you are taking is uphill. Even if it's just a slight little incline, you are taking a step up. And as you can imagine, that's really difficult. It's hard physically. It's hard emotionally. It's hard sometimes spiritually to be like, I can't do this. I don't know if I have the strength. And that was exactly what I was facing as I was climbing this mountain. We kept on just walking on these trails. It just felt like we were kind of walking around in circles, no progress. But then we actually cleared the tree line and we stopped. And I had this moment of clarity that was so profound for me. And it was this, and that we were standing out on this clearing, looking out over this valley, at the base of the mountain. I turn back and I look at the parking lot, and the cars are the size of ants. And it made me think that, oh my gosh, this entire last 2.5 hours of climbing, I felt like I wasn't making any progress. But then I look back and I see the parking lot and how far I've actually come. And it made me think about my grief journey, that I have made progress even though it feels like I hadn't. And it was such a profound moment for me. Going a little bit further up the mountain, I actually had some issues physically because my knees locked up. My IT bands they got irritated, and so every step I tried to take upwards, it felt like somebody was clamping down on my knees. I ran out of water at the top. How doesn't this sound like your grief journey? There's things that kind of happen along the way that make it even more difficult for us. But here's the thing. I was with a group of people, and they made the rest of that journey. They helped me. There was actually an ER doctor with us, and he recognized that my legs were cramping up and that my knees were having some issues. He actually walked with me down the mountain. It took an extra hour and a half to get down the mountain because my legs were so weak from just the lack of water and dehydration, and just, I don't know what it was, but he stayed with me. And we actually talked about Zoe. It was very helpful. And my whole point about sharing all this, Martin, is that, we're never alone on this journey, and we don't have to be, even if we feel like we are. Even if it feels like no one is going to be with us on this journey and that we're not making any progress, we are. So here's what I would invite you to do. I would invite you to figuratively stop where you are right now and look back on the last 6 months of your journey. And I realize 6 months isn't that long. 6 years doesn't feel that long, right? It's been 10 years since I lost Zoe. And every once in a while, I will do this same exercise where I'll stop and I'll look back and I'll see, wait a minute, I have actually made some progress. It's not going to be a night and day change. And grief is such, again, a powerful experience that the pain stays with us for a very long time. And it feels like we're just not making any progress or feeling any better. And so I invite you to look at your journey for what it is, and that every single day you are taking another step forward. And by the way, it's not always going to be an uphill climb. There will be a tipping point where you start to come back down the mountain. You're not going to experience what I experienced physically, but you will have that sense that you have cleared a hurdle, that you have reached a point in your journey where, oh my gosh, I actually am having a good day. I'm actually feeling like I can get through this. And that will happen. Everybody is different. Not one person experiences this journey the same way. And here's my final tip for this video, is if you really want to feel like you are not alone on this, then I invite you to join a support group or a local meetup group, or connect with somebody one-on-one who can walk with you on this journey as well. We can all do this together, because doing it alone is going to be really difficult. And just going back to the mountain metaphor here real quick, if I decided to climb that mountain by myself that day, I don't know how I would have gotten back down. I may have had to been airlifted off. It was really that bad. So walk with other people. You're not alone in this. It will be okay. As always, I hope this helps. Do you have a question about grief that I can answer for you? Let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't done so yet, click that subscribe button down below, as that is one of the best ways to get notified of new videos just like this, and to show support for the channel. Let's continue to walk together, and I will see you in next week's video.